Hi there. The book we're reviewing today on stick fighting was co-authored by Quinton Chambers, and I met Quinton um, when he came to England in the very early 1970s uh, at a reception given at Mike Finn's house. Mike Finn had also trained in Japan, and Terry and I went down there and we had a very enjoyable evening talking about the martial arts. And as far as I remember, Quinton Chambers had studied the Jo with Master Shimizu in Tokyo and was part of Don Drager's circle. But he wrote or co-authored the book with Masaaki Hatsumi, who is from a completely different system. Now, when I was in Japan, Mr. Hatsumi was on the TV, on children's TV, and he was a children's TV entertainer, doing tricks and sketches and puzzles and games and things on the TV. Blending martial arts into it, but that's what he was known for. And then eventually, due to people from Israel and the United States training with him, his system exploded all over the world, and he became the foremost recognized authority on ninjutsu. And that was the start of the ninja craze, which has tallied off. But at one time it was massive all over the world, and you had people running around in black suits and split toes, tabi, climbing walls and stuff. The fact of the matter is that, according to Don Drager, and he's told us this personally, there was no lineage to ninjutsu. The last of the authentic proponents had died out. So anyone professing to teach ninjutsu was doing it at least one remove, with no real authentic content there. And of course, the other thing that always amused me was that the whole idea of the ninja was their stuff was supposed to be secret. It was sneaky. You know, the fact that they would have a blade hidden within a stick was only effective if you didn't know about that kind of stuff. But as soon as you write books and produce videos and start teaching seminars all over the world, then it kind of reduces the whole notion of what it's supposed to be. But that's really separate from this book, which is the use of the stick. And the book contains a plethora of techniques. Really, there's a lot packed into it. It's very much a martial art. It's mainly done with a stick of about 2.5 to 3 foot long. And whenever you consider a book of this type, you've got to think, who is it aimed at? And of course, one of the main groups of people who use impact weapons are the police. So is it suitable for police training? Then the other kind of group of people who routinely carry a stick, such as a walking stick or a cane, which became popular, and you can buy dedicated canes which are useful for self-protection, and there are many people training in them. And then you've just got the kind of idea of arming yourself expediently with some sort of impact weapon, stick, in the event you need it. So that's the kind of categories. Well, for the police, they have their own systems and their own requirements and so on. So it would be mainly the martial arts orientated person who was carrying a stick on a regular basis. might get the most value out of this book. In my opinion, on the stick, the main effectiveness is in the thrust rather than any kind of swing strike. Swing strike, Fairbairn pointed this out many years ago. Swing strikes are the most easy to intercept, but the thrust, there's no depth perception to a thrust, and it can be very, very rapid and delivered to the target. So the main, really, the main technique you should think of is the thrust with the stick. Then the book goes into things like locks or entanglements with the stick, and I think these really are rather fanciful. The exception in law enforcement use would be for passive resistance. People who are curled up like that, they don't want to move, they've glued themselves to a road or something like that. You can insert a stick into the armpit, twist them, get them down into a handcuffing position. That's fairly widely taught. Apart from that, most of the entanglements, and I trained in some of the police stick systems, and they work great in training. We play around with them and it's effective. Actually doing it on somebody who doesn't want you to catch their wrist and twist it up is a different prospect. But there is a lot in the book, and I would be judicious in taking stuff out of it to use. There are possibly too many variations of a similar type of technique. Another consideration is the type of weapon you're going to use, and also the type of environment you're working in. So, for example, the Southeast Asian stick techniques, Kali, Eskrima and so on, which use a light rattan stick, but it's mainly against people who have got bare skin or very, very light clothing because of the climate. And you come over to the West where people are wearing heavy leather coats, puffer jackets and so on. You need a different type of weapon. So they're considerations. My personal view is I like the World War II stick systems, or those that were taught before and during World War II. Fairbairn stick system I like. It can be used with any kind of length of wood. If you pick up a branch of a tree, you can use it because it doesn't require you to slide your hand up and down a smooth piece of wood. The Steyr system, which was derived from Kengler, is very good as well. And I tend to pick some techniques from both and integrate them together into quite a simple system. And I think that's the thing. Simplicity is the key. And I'm afraid that the book is too complex. There's too much in it. If you know what you're doing, you can go into the book and extract techniques that will work for you. But if you're just hoping to learn as a novice to learn a stick system, it might be a bit more difficult. Mr. Hatsumi went on to produce more books and DVDs and so on based on martial arts, excuse me, and his ninja, and they're all out there.